As someone who suffers with anemia, I know all too well how life-altering iron deficiency can be. Whether it's the overwhelming fatigue, the dry and brittle nails, the difficulty concentrating, it takes a toll. And then sometimes the supplements and treatments for iron deficiency have unpleasant side effects. That's why I'm excited about Citarol. Citarol from PharmaNutra is a premium iron supplement powered by sucrosomial technology. This helps your body absorb 3 to 4 times more iron while avoiding the common side effects of traditional iron supplements, the nausea and constipation. Citarol stands apart with 150 published clinical studies, unlike most supplement brands that have little to no clinical research. It's globally trusted and it's convenient. You can take it at any time, so there's no need to adjust your meals. It fits seamlessly into your day. It's 100% allergen-free, it's vegan and gluten-free. So if you're nodding along and I'm describing the symptoms because you are exhausted and your brain feels like it's in a fog, this could be exactly what you need. Join over 2 million people who have already discovered Citarol and found the help they needed. Head to pharmanutra-us.com and use the code BGB for 10% off your first order of Citarol. That's pharmanutra-us.com. Promo code BGB for 10% off today. Welcome to the Black Girl Burnout Podcast. Kelley here, and today's episode is a personal one. I am going to be talking about what it's like when doing your best doesn't look the way it used to. This end of the year, I've been talking a lot about the soft lock-in, that there's a lot of goals and things that I want to get accomplished before the end of the year hits. And I'm excited. There's some energy around some possibilities. I'm feeling good, but I'm also feeling tired. I've had a lot going on in my life for so long. It just feels like a lot going on is the baseline. And I know most of you who are listening to this podcast can probably identify with that. I have been trying to practice what I preach, particularly when it comes to the soft lock-in concept. This idea that grinding and pushing and forcing yourself into success doesn't work. And if it does, it doesn't leave you feeling fulfilled. And so instead, I am choosing to be soft about the way I go about getting goals accomplished. But what I've realized is, as I always say, this idea of the soft lock-in at the end of the year, it's an ongoing practice. It's something that I'm choosing every single day because though I declared it once doesn't make it true. It doesn't mean that I'm going to do it perfectly every time. And the truth is, I have been tempted to grind. But for better or for worse, grief, age, my body, they're saying something totally different. They're signaling the need for me to pause. And I'm choosing to honor that. And it's from that space that I wanted to create this episode. I wanted to talk about what does it look like when you have that moment of tension between wanting to do the soft lock-in, believing in that messaging, and fighting the programming of wanting to push and grind and go harder and further. And also wanting to do it against the backdrop of a world that feels like there's so much chaos that there's comfort in grinding. There's comfort on getting in the hamster wheel, even though it goes nowhere, and pushing and pushing and pushing. Because while you're pushing, you're not thinking about what might be going wrong in your life or areas where there's challenges. I don't even know that we can say going wrong, just challenging times and challenging feelings. And that is a feeling I know very well. I've had a lot going on. This year has been an interesting one for many people with some great highs, but some big lows. It'll be, by the time this episode is released, my father will have been gone a year. And it is shocking that a year has already gone by. And it's both the most surprising and resilient thing I've learned about myself, and simultaneously the most heartbreaking, that life has just gone on, though a big piece of my life is gone. And I am making peace with that every day. But how that shows up in my life has been interesting. I've been nonstop moving the last couple of weeks. I've been very scattered. I've had to do a couple things. I've been doing a lot of traveling, a lot of helping out my sweet mom with some things. And my body is signaling a time for a pause. It just doesn't move like it did at 22, and my energy doesn't replenish as fast. And then there's my emotional state. I'm still in the quiet waves of grief. Grief, as you know, most people have experienced it, or if you haven't, you've heard, grief isn't linear. It doesn't have a start and end date. It ebbs and flows. And so I am learning to let go of the need to do more. And the way I'm doing that is by redefining doing my best. There have been times in the past where doing my best meant grinding myself into oblivion, pushing until I just couldn't go anymore. And now some of it's because I'm healed and trying to be healthy. Some of it's because my body said, girl, you could try, but we can't do that no more. No matter what the reason is, I am learning to redefine doing my best in a way that honors where I am and who I am today. And for the better, I think. But as I've talked about a lot in this podcast, so much of what I think Black women have taught themselves as ambition or doing their best is really just conditioning. There's so many messages that we get growing up culturally, socially, and even politically that teach us and define doing our best as reaching for the sky 24/7. Some of the circumstances could be you're a child of an immigrant. Maybe you're the first generation to go to college. You might be a caretaker. If you are those things, and I can definitely relate to some of them, then you're usually going to be culturally tuned into excellence, pushing yourself forward, setting the bar higher and higher. You accomplish one goal and you immediately set up another. You're just programmed to go. And some of that can be the feeling the need to represent, to make your parents proud, to make their sacrifices that they made financially or culturally to raise you up worth it, to honor them. Oftentimes, feeling the need to represent can be, in my case, for example, part of it's also that I grew up in a predominantly white area, and I always felt the need to prove to white folks, Black people are everything. They are beautiful. They are intelligent. They are just excellence embodied. And so I pushed myself to be that so I could represent to folks who may never encounter another Black woman or never encounter as closely another Black woman as me. So that pressure was on me to do my best always to do that. Sometimes it's learning that the only way we get praised is by breaking records, pushing ourselves forward, achieving in academics or in our professional lives. Many people get stuck in that perfectionism loop where they are praised when they betray themselves, when they do the most, even if it costs them. And that cycle, that need for validation can push you to some pretty hard lengths and with some pretty dire consequences. We all want to feel valued and we all want to feel like we're contributing. And as Black women, we definitely want to be excellent. But when we make doing our best this unbelievably high standard, it leads to burnout. it leads to invisibility and it leads to imbalance. Now, it might be obvious how it leads to burnout. Pushing yourself without taking time to rest or replenish is just a recipe for burnout. And it definitely is a recipe for an imbalanced life. But it also is a recipe for invisibility. And that's something we don't talk about a lot. If you're busy out there being excellent, people reassess what they think the standard for you should be. So if good is your poor and excellent is your just okay, people mirror that back to you. So oftentimes you feel underappreciated. You're out here doing miracles and people are just like, well, that's just what Kelley does. Or you're out there taking care of everybody. And because you've always done that, people just assume that that's your baseline, that that's not hard for you, that there's no sacrifices occurring because you make it look so easy. I know for myself, because I made it look effortless, people rarely knew how much it was costing me. My relationships were uneven and non-reciprocal. I felt alone a lot of the times, and I felt like my contribution and my work was underappreciated, and it made me resentful. And so because of that, I am making changes. I have been making changes. I understand that doing my best has to be redefined, and it can't be being redefined through the lens of perfectionism because I will never be satisfied. It will never leave me feeling like I've accomplished what I need to. It'll never allow me to be mindful or honor my body in the proper ways. So part of the reason that I am reworking my life, softly locking in at the end of this year, is in an attempt to rewrite that narrative. A narrative I think I'll be rewriting for the rest of my life because perfectionism and pushing myself is so ingrained in who I am. It has been a long, rewarding, but not simple road to unpack all that. It's required a lot of healing, a lot of therapy, a lot of honoring myself and giving myself grace at the same time. It's been a little bit of humility and checking my ego a bit, but it's all been worth it. Let's be real. One of the biggest sources of burnout for Black women is money. Whether it's debt, divorce, home buying, investing, or just trying to make it to the next paycheck, financial stress is real and it's exhausting. But here's something that can help. The Savvy Ladies Helpline. It's free. Yes, really free. You get 55 minutes with a certified financial expert, no strings, no judgment, just real answers to your real money questions. Want to build wealth, prep for retirement, figure out how to invest or navigate money after a breakup? They've got you. Savvy Ladies is on a mission to make financial education accessible to all women, and the helpline is a game changer. So if money is stealing your peace, I invite you to take one powerful step toward financial freedom. Visit savvyladies.org and book your free session today. You don't have to struggle alone. You can opt out of burnout and into clarity, confidence, and peace with your money. Fall is my favorite season. Something about its coziness, it's the fuzzy socks, it's a good cup of tea, and for those who celebrate, it's pumpkin spice latte season. But it's also the perfect time to reset and bring healthy habits back into focus. And with Green Chef, the #1 meal kit for clean eating, you can do just that. Green Chef really makes it easy to spend less time in the kitchen and more time enjoying the season. With their new Heat and Eat meals, you can enjoy a delicious, wholesome meal in just 3 minutes. It's also perfect for supporting your wellness journey because Green Chef uses clean ingredients, fresh organic produce. It really helps you nurture yourself and your nutritional needs. I've used Green Chef before and have found the meals to be both delicious and healthy. I chose the Mediterranean option and I was genuinely pleasantly surprised by how delicious and, importantly, convenient these meals were.
Make this fall your healthiest yet with Green Chef. Head to greenchef.com/50BGB and use the code 50BGB to get 50% off your first month. Then 20% off for 2 months with free shipping. That's code 50BGB at greenchef.com/50BGB.
And part of what I started to learn to do was the step one of what I tell anybody when I used to do direct practice, which is what's going on in your body and learning the signals of when I'm doing too much. So I no longer think about doing my best because that's a mindset shift that I'm working on where I just acknowledge my best is good enough and good enough is my best sometimes. That is the mindset shift I've been working on. But first, I just needed to get in touch with my body and be aware of what's going on in it. And that can be the same for you. What I did is I started thinking about what are the internal signals that tell me that I'm doing too much. So for me, it is exhaustion. I get so tired, and not like sleepy tired, really overtired. What ends up happening is my body will want to go to sleep and then it'll just wake back up. And even though I physically feel exhausted, I will find myself doom scrolling. That's always a signal. Doom scrolling, signal I'm doing too much. Tension in my neck pains, and stiffness in my neck, signal I'm doing too much. Getting quick to anger, being frustrated. I'm not an angry person all day long. I'm usually really easygoing. When I start feeling angry, I'm probably doing too much. Missing out on my routines. I have a beautiful morning routine, and when I start betraying that and not sticking to it, I'm doing way too much. Another sneaky one, I love a can of Coke. And I find that when things are going great, I might have like a can of Coke maybe once a week, maybe a couple times a month. But when things are going rough, when I am doing the most, I will find myself drinking a tiny can of Coke every day. And once I hit about day 3, I'm like, uh-oh, I've needed Coke 3 times this week. And by Coke, I mean the soda, in case anyone was wondering. Then, yeah, I'm doing too much. And when I asked this question on Substack, some people said the most amazing symptoms that they had that they were doing too much. They said ordering too much takeout is a signal that they're doing too much. Again, other people doom scrolling. I want you to think about what are the physical signs, the emotional or behavioral signs that tell you you're past your capacity. Write them down. Make the implicit explicit, as they say. Make it real. Say it out loud. What are the things that let you know that you are doing too much? Once you know, you can start to hit pause. So this week when I found myself exhausted, a little frustrated, doom scrolling, or just nonstop scrolling past productivity on the internet, I pulled back and I slowed down. And I told myself what I said to you before, that good enough is your best sometimes. And your best is good enough. And I've made peace with that relationship, and I'm making peace every day with it. The other thing that has been a surprise to me that I have said before is that grief has taught me a lot about doing my best. It has humbled me and has broken me open. I find myself more resilient and equally more tender. And as I do come up on the year anniversary of my father's passing, I see those two things at play. I see the resilience and the strength, and I see the tenderness and the being broken open. And this past year taught me so much about rest and recuperation. You just can only do so much. And it is, like I said, it's humbled me because I need more rest. I need more quiet. I need more slowness. Grief has made me need another 30 minutes of sleep sometimes. It's made me quieter than I used to be. I certainly am a chatterer and I certainly can talk. That's not something anyone has ever accused me of being a quiet wallflower. But I find that I don't talk as much as I used to. And I talk slower than I used to, which is surprising because I used to go 50 miles a minute, go, 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 fast, 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 fast. That used to be my cadence of speaking. And I find myself talking and moving slowly these days. And it's not a breakdown. It's been a recalibration, a restoration of my capacity. Because it's not that slowing down has been a symptom of something gone wrong. It's more like this is probably where I should have been in the first place. There's no rush. All the times in my life that I've been like, where am I going? What is the hurry again? Taking a minute to breathe is never going to hurt you. I've shifted my definition of what doing my best looks like now. And best no longer means perfect. Instead, best means aligned. And like I said before, good enough sometimes is my best. And if it's aligned, I'm happy about it. And how's that show up in my life? I've been delegating a lot more. I brought on a second person on my team to help me out with office and work stuff. I'm getting a cleaning service because I'm tired and I need one. And cleaning is the last thing I want to do, even though I do it well. I don't want to do it. So I'm getting cleaning service. I'm giving myself 30 minutes when I need to sleep in. I've cushioned my morning routine. So sometimes my morning routine is 2 hours long to get things done and get going and do all the things I need to take care of in my life. And sometimes when I need that 30 minutes, I have a 90-minute version of that. I've been rearranging deadlines. I'm giving myself permission to say, oh, normally I would say, I'll get that to you by Friday. And instead taking a pause and saying, can I get that to you on Tuesday? I am choosing presence over productivity. I am having long conversations with family members and sitting down and making eye contact with the people I love. I have conversations with strangers. I smile at people. I'm choosing being present in my interactions with the people I'm with over rushing to get something done. Because the bottom line is there's no extra prize for suffering through our goals or suffering on the way to achievements. Redefining doing my best has been freeing. And the truth of the matter is, for better or for worse, your best is going to evolve because life is going to make it so. Whether it's the fact that you get older and you can't do what you used to do, or it's just that your circumstances change and you have to reevaluate what your best is. But the upside to that is realizing that your best was always for you to choose all along. And maybe it's time to think about making your best a more healthy, a more gentle construct than the one that is measured by checklists and by awards and by salary and by titles. Leaning into softness will always be a strength. And how about thinking about rest as its own form of leadership? Think of how novel it is to model for people, particularly other Black women, that rest is important, that rest makes you better at all the things. Doing your best isn't always going to look like thriving. Sometimes it looks like surviving, but surviving with softness. And so my invitation to you as I close out this episode is to think about, where do you need to soften your expectations of yourself this week? Where can you redefine your best into something that honors your rhythms and rest, that highlights your softness? How can you make yourself a leader by modeling this through the way that you slow down and recalibrate and replenish yourself? Let me know how you're doing it, because I want to hear it. All right, that's it for this episode. Before I go, I'm making it a practice to tell you all how grateful I am for the reviews you leave. and read a few of the ones that have warmed my heart. And this is one from someone named Hannah on Apple Podcasts. And she titled the review, "The Healing Balm So Many of Us Need Right Now." This podcast is an oasis designed especially for Black women and the deeper healing we deserve. I'm so happy a space like this exists in the world. Thank you. No, thank you, Hannah. That review made my day. Every week, I'm going to read a review as I encourage you all to please leave reviews if you haven't yet. I cannot tell you how much of a difference they make for me. They literally contribute to the monetary value of this podcast. All of it matters. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And next week, I'll be reading from Spotify because we get great comments over in Spotify all the time. I haven't forgot about you all. I'm going to be reading reviews every single week to talk about how great this community is and how grateful I am to you that we are building this Black Girl Burnout movement together. As always, you can find the podcast on all major platforms. You can drop your own review and make my day. You could also share this podcast with a friend. We're really going through it right now in the world, and so many people need to have a space of positivity with a side of tools and tips to manage life better. And that's what I'm here for. So share this with a friend and follow along on all of our platforms. It's really easy. It's at Black Girl Burnout pretty much everywhere. That's TikTok, that's Instagram, that's YouTube, that's my baby Substack, which continues to grow. I think we're at 13,000 people now, where I go a little bit deeper and write more long form content about the themes of the podcast. Okay, I think that's it for this week. Until next week, take care of yourself, take care of each other, rest well, and honor yourself by doing your best softly.